What's up, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Hot Mic here on the Outlaw Nation channel. I am the Outlaw John Rocha, joined as always by the Sneider himself, who has, had such a wonderful time with his newsletter. Happy New Year, Jeff. How you doing?
Happy fucking New Year, Johnny boy! 2024 in the house.
There it is. It's in the house. 2024. We hope you all had a wonderful New Year as well. I've been sick for the last few days, so I don't know how I'm going to be in this particular episode, because this is the longest show I've done in about 5 days. So we will see how I hang in there today. But we got a lot to discuss, a lot to get into for sure. We got Steven Yeun and Thunderbolts news. We've got the Safdie brothers news. We've got Jenna, Ortega, and Taika Waititi, which we're taking right off of Jeff's newsletter. David Ayer stuff, that Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy Star Wars comments, some Golden Globes conversations, and some Margot Robbie stuff and more going on here on this episode of the Hot Mic on the Outlaw Nation channel. And remember, Streamlabs super chats are open. Send them in. Start sending them in if you want us to answer anything that you want us to talk about here in the world of entertainment. Jeff, there's so much happening. I don't know what's going on. How are you seeing all these things? How are you feeling about the world of entertainment as we go into 2024? What's your thoughts here, man?
Listen, I'm optimistic, right? Everyone is always just like, oh, it's the end of the world. People aren't going to go to the movies anymore. Then you have something like Barbie or Oppenheimer, and it captures the world's imagination. Good movies will capture the world's imagination. Do I think, I mean, look at how well concerts are doing. Like, this is what we predicted after the pandemic, right?
Right.
I mean, Taylor Swift's concert tour just set like a record. It brought in like billions of dollars or something like that.
Sure.
So I feel like people are still craving those communal experiences. We just need to deliver stuff that's worthy of their time. I mean, what is going to get people out of their homes? And who thought it would be a 3-hour movie about, a theoretical physicist?
But, and a plastic doll. Yeah.
Right, but it was. And so that's why we need to keep trusting artists to tell stories and do what they do best.
Yeah, agreed. And so much has been happening over the last few years, as you said, since COVID. It's an interesting world to walk into now in 2024. We hear about all these streaming services wanting to combine. We hear about studios wanting to buy other studios. We hear about all this stuff going on. But at the end of the day, there in the foundation of it all is artists wanting to create films or television shows that excite people, that cast the right people, that make a difference in the world, or at least entertain people. And that's what we hope we'll see as we go into 2024. And there certainly will be a lot that we talk about here on the show as we go along here throughout the year for sure. But Jeff, let's just start off right now with the big one. Let's hit the Steven Yeun situation here. He confirmed yesterday that he has in fact dropped out as Sentry in the film Thunderbolts there from Marvel. He told Variety's Mark Malkin at some, was it Gucci or Louis Vuitton opening, about his Thunderbolts exit. And he cited the SAG after strike as the reason for him dropping out. He said, quote, "I think for me, time passing and things shifting kind of pulled me out of it. But Jake Schreier is directing this thing. I know he is going to do an incredible job." And he said, "I want to do a Marvel movie." But he said it took a lot of drafts on email to make sure that I conveyed the sincerity of how sorry I was to back out of Marvel. And I think it's too early to say that for me being, it's too early to say when I will be in a Marvel movie again, because I probably pissed off too many people leaving. So I'm just going to say thank you for having me. He said he has ideas, but he doesn't want to put it out there because he doesn't want to jinx it. So necessarily, we'd heard rumors about this since the turn of the year, and he just officially confirmed it there on the red carpet with Variety's Margot. So what are your thoughts on this, Jeff, as he is now out of Thunderbolts? I don't know if the character of Sentry is out of Thunderbolts. Zemo's not in Thunderbolts. So what do you, oh, there we go. What are you thought? Okay. Right. Are we adding you here? Is that what's going on?
Oh, I don't know what to do, John. Fucking Spectrum fucking internet is the fucking worst. Nothing fucking works anymore. Whether it's fucking Spectrum or fucking Stripe or fucking Beehive, none of these companies do what they fucking say that they're going to do.
That's why you got to trust in the Outlaw Nation. Okay.
I'm gonna try
to
get back in on the fucking laptop. This is ridiculous.
Yeah. Jeff's having some internet issues. And fair warning, we're gonna try to keep the show going as much as possible with these situations. So bear with us, please. Bear with us. But all right. So are you still gonna try to get into the internet on your laptop, or do you want to chime in on the Steven Yeun situation yet?
Yeah, no, I'm down to chime in on the Steven Yeun situation. I mean, I don't think it is what everybody thinks it is. And I can't say what I was told was the reason.
Oh, okay.
But it was a personal thing. It was, It had nothing to do with, this movie's shaping up to be a bomb, or, I don't want to be Sentry. I don't want to be tied down in the MCU, or we're not going to make this movie, and I know there's been rumors of like, with the rumored budget cuts, like, are they going to sort of cut back on projects? Are we going to cut back on characters in projects? Yeah. Rather than paying 10 movie stars to be in a movie like in Eternals, do you make that movie with 8 stars or 7 stars? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that there was that kind of speculation, and that is understandable. And there's also, of course, the speculation, which just happened because of the headlines and the timing and everything.
Yeah.
Jordan Peele's talking about making his next movie, right?
Yeah.
So people are like, did this movie Thunderbolts that Steven Yeun was expecting to make last year, now it's scheduled for, this spring. Has that maybe run into Peele's movie, which could go this summer?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's, a logical connection to make. And I have heard those rumors that it was going to be Steven and Daniel again from Nope.
Okay.
But I think that this was more of a personal scheduling problem.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, because for me, I look at this and the timing of it all, and I go in a different direction, which is, and feel free to correct me or kibosh my point of view on this, but like I look at it as, well, there were a lot of rumors that Ryan Gosling was in conversation with Marvel about a role. Sentry is a blonde guy in the comics, a blonde white dude who's very built. So we've seen how good Ryan can look when he's working out, as we saw in Barbie and other projects. So is it a possibility that they actually want to have a standalone Sentry film? They want to remove him from Thunderbolts, and they want to go with someone who they think is a bona fide movie star. Nothing against Steven Yeun, who's actually a wonderful actor, but maybe the studio felt, let's go the Gosling route. And I get it. The perception, the optics. Certainly I'm the first one to bring up the optics with, moving an Asian guy out to put a white actor in. But in this case, I don't think I'd necessarily have an issue with that. And you're giving Steven Yeun the opportunity to remove himself from the movie, so he controls the narrative of himself leaving the movie, not the studio. But do you think I'm way off base on that?
Do I think you're off base about what exactly?
That Gosling would replace Steven Yeun as Sentry,
I think
and they would go.
Hey, obviously Ryan Gosling is the fucking hottest thing in Hollywood right now, off of Barbie, right? I mean, he played the character that everyone's talking about in the movie of the year. You can say whatever you want about how good Margot was as Barbie and how that movie wouldn't have been what it was without her, and it wouldn't have. But people fucking left that movie talking about Ken. Sorry.
She's not going to be nominated for the Oscar. So, it'll be Ryan.
Could be, but I'm just like, Gosling was the scene stealer. Yeah. So I think, he can obviously do whatever he wants at the moment. He didn't want to do Wolfman. Right. And he also has a huge movie in like The Fall Guy, which is an original thing, right? That's opening. I mean, it's
not original. It's based on
a show. Yes. Yeah, but I mean, that is not an IP that is familiar to most people these days, just like Bullet Train is looked at as an original, even though it's based on a book. I mean, it's the same fucking thing. So he's in the catbird seat. And I think that now is the time for him to start talking to either Marvel or DC. It's all about whether, do you think DC's on the way up with James Gunn, and do you want to catch that train while it's on the, going up, or that elevator, however you want to call it? Or do you think Marvel is on its way down, or that Kevin's going to turn around?
Yeah.
But either way, yeah, he's obviously coveted between, for some sort of superhero role. And it could very well be Sentry, although I don't know why that movie itself seems a little small. But
well, that's my point.
That's my
point. I think they're going to do a standalone Sentry if they make this move. And maybe they had a conversation with Steven, and Steven's like, you know what? Yeah, I get it. Go do your thing. Just keep me in mind. Let me control the narrative. And I'll go and, I'll come back and do something else when the timing is right. You move Ryan in, you take the character out of Thunderbolts. You don't even have the character in Thunderbolts. And you create a separate standalone franchise of Sentry in the Marvel Universe with Gosling as the lead, as the character. Do you think that's off base?
Sorry, what?
Jesus Christ, man. How many times can I ask you this?
I feel like you're asking the same fucking question.
Well, you're not answering it.
Do I think it could be Sentry? It could be. I don't know. If I knew, I'd fucking tell you.
Well, do you think they're going to remove the character from? Do you think it? Okay, well, fine.
No, I think they will recast. No, I do not think that they will take Sentry out of the movie. I think that they will recast, and they're looking for a new Sentry. Yes.
Do you think the movie's going to? I think the movie's not going to happen.
I think it will. I think
you do. Okay.
You're again one of these doom and gloomers where it's not working. They're just going to throw it away. They're just going to scrap.
I'll tell you exactly why. It's a bunch of sidekicks. Marvel needs a fucking hit. They don't need a bunch of sidekicks in a movie. No offense to Florence Pugh. I love her. I love Yelena Belova. But it's a bunch of sidekicks. And it doesn't make sense to me that if they need a hit, that they're going to go with that situation here. You've removed Baron Zemo, so there is no Daniel Bruhl.
What is a hit?
Now you've removed Steven Yeun. Go ahead.
Sir, a hit is in relation to a film's budget, okay? So if you don't make a $200 million movie or $300 million Avengers movie, then you don't need to make $1 billion, okay? And you can make a $125 million sidekick movie, and as long as the movie makes, 400 or whatever, you're okay. And so I feel like that is sort of what Kevin's getting at. He's trying to fill a pipeline with cheaper products.
Yeah, I guess. It's not exciting. I mean, even the premise, we just lost Jeff again. Even the premise, a team of supervillains is sent on what turns out to be a suicide mission. They weren't supposed to come back alive. When they realize this, they team up to destroy the person who sent them to die. So who's that? Valentina? Is that Julia Louis-Dreyfus? Is that what we're going for here? So I don't know. It just doesn't seem like the kind of thing you want to come out with, and it's going to be that exciting. And look, it's all solid actors across the board. David Harbour, Sebastian Stan, certainly Florence Pugh, and Olga Kurylenko. They're certainly solid actors. I just don't know that any of them are movie stars enough to put butts in seats to get people excited. And don't give me Guardians of the Galaxy. It's not even remotely fucking close. Those are all alpha actors. Those are all alpha characters. It's not the same. They were not all sidekicks that were brought together Suicide Squad-like to be part of a team. They're all separate characters that did their own thing. Oh, here we go. We lost Jeff again. Here, let me bring him back in. So I just don't see the comparison between Guardians of the Galaxy. Not even remotely close to the same thing. So, all right.
I just don't think it's that interesting. I understand why everyone's like freaking out and, oh my God, Steven Yeun's leaving. And is this a sign of something larger? Marvel's falling apart. Oh my God, the sky is falling. But it's really just an actor who had something come up in his personal life, I think, and, had to step away.
All right. But I'm not putting it in a vacuum. Not having Daniel Bruhl, he basically confirmed that Zemo's not in it. And I'm hearing that the actress from The Bear, I see reports that she might be pulling out herself. So if you start to see more actors leaving the situation, then that starts to tell you that this film is not going to happen or has trouble behind the scenes. So it just feels like that to me. But who knows? Maybe you're 100% right. And it's all sunny days going forward with that production. It's been delayed and delayed and delayed. And they still haven't started shooting. Why is it shoot in March or April?
I mean, that is one of the priorities is to get that movie up and running, right? That is what Marvel's focused on. They're focused on that, and they're focused on getting Fantastic Four up and running, which I think will also be mid-March.
Okay. All right.
They're also trying to get directors on Spider-Man 4
Yeah.
and on Avengers, and they're trying to right the ship on Captain America. And I think that
Yeah.
those are the priorities. So, like, obviously they're plugging away on Blade and some other properties, but I think like if you gave Marvel a checklist, those 5 things would probably be at the top of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair point. Yeah, I mean, like, look, what does Zeno Hour say? They were not alpha characters. That's why. No, they are. They're all. Gamora was someone you didn't fuck with. Groot did his own thing. Rocket is someone you didn't fuck with. Star-Lord was very much happy being on his own with the Reavers. He was his own thing. Every single one of those characters were their own thing. Where did I meet Red Guardian? Black Widow. Where is he in Black Widow? A sidekick. Where do I meet Yelena Belova? She's the younger sister, essentially a sidekick. Where do I meet all the other actors in this? Olga Kurylenko. Taskmaster's is like one of the lesser villains that you've seen in the Marvel universe. So that's what I'm saying, all across the board. It's just not as strong as what you got. So I don't see how people can compare it. But, that's just me. You guys may feel differently. That's fine. All right, let's move on to the Safdie brothers situation, Jeff. This is something you broke.
Let's do it.
A fucking year ago, for God's sakes. And people are now talking about it because Benny Safdie did this interview with Variety, and he talked about a lot of things. By the way, it's a fantastic article if you guys haven't read it. But he talked about the split with his brother. Josh said that the split is amicable. He said, quote, "It's a natural progression of what we each want to explore. I will direct on my own, and I will explore things that I want to explore. I want the freedom right now in my life." But he also said that the film that Josh is doing with Adam Sandler that he has nothing to do with is on pause. So talk to me about this a little bit more, about the breakup, about the reaction here you have to this interview overall here with the Safdie brothers.
I mean, I thought it was a good interview. Like they didn't let Benny wiggle off the hook, right? Like he addressed it straight on. He had to at some point. And it's obviously clear that like this guy had a great year as far as like in front of the camera goes. Oppenheimer, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, The Curse. Like he's taking off.
Yeah.
Not only that, but as a director, he's working with The Rock, and he's like the director who convinced The Rock to do something dramatic. So I understand why he wouldn't, he doesn't want his brother to maybe hold him back, or he doesn't want to feel like they have to make movies together, especially with all the opportunities that are sort of coming his way. I don't know what actually is behind the split. I mean, I've heard, that Josh can maybe be a little bit, mercurial. And that's like I said, I had spoken about why that movie with Sandler seems to be on pause. Like I don't know if Josh and Sandler have their own sort of making up to do. I mean, Ethan Janfeld did a good job with this story, but it's like you don't. It was like they denied having a falling out, but like and said like the split was amicable. Like I mean. I don't know about that. I don't know that brothers have like fallout. Like brothers fight, that's what they do, and they're in a fight right now. But like I would be very surprised if they had like a falling out altogether. You know what I mean? Like it's just gonna take some time, and I do think that we'll see another Safdie movie again. I don't know, 5-6 years down the line. They have a long career ahead of them.
Yeah. Sometimes you just want to, create your own space. I was doing we were just doing the Groundhog Day on the Cinephiles. So we're talking about Bill Murray and Harold Ramis and how that movie fractured the relationship between Bill Murray and Harold Ramis until Harold Ramis was on his deathbed. That's when Bill Murray made up with him. But it was because Bill Murray felt that too many people were giving Harold Ramis credit for his success, for Bill Murray's success, and he wanted to break out of that, right? So we've seen that happen, whether they're partnerships, whether they're brothers, whether they're family members or friends. That stuff happens. And so it seems like that's what's going on here, that maybe Benny just wants to walk his own path for a bit. Maybe Josh has been the alpha in that relationship. Benny has kind of come into his own power and now wants to explore being his own alpha in his own life and seeing what there is for him out there. And I think that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. But as you said, we don't know if it's actually amicable behind the scenes for that.
I mean, like I said, I'd heard that they had to sit at separate tables, at some sort of event. It's a rift right now, and I think like all things, like time heals all wounds. Like these guys are fucking brothers,
Yeah.
And I think that you're right, that there's something probably around the age right now where it's like you want to prove to themselves like that they're their own man. They don't need to be one of the brothers to be successful. Like they can be successful on their own. I think that's all this is like a phase. But it's not that they were guaranteed to work together for the rest of their lives, you know. But now's the time for them to stretch and see what each of their own sort of, you know, creative voices and personalities is like.
Yeah, for sure. But a follow up on this, The Rock is part of the article here, and they asked him about working with Benny Safdie, why he chose to do this. This is very interesting. I want to hear your thoughts on it. He said Benny wants to create and continues to push the envelope when it comes to stories that are raw and real, characters that are authentic and at times uncomfortable and arresting. I'm at a point in my career where I want to push myself in ways that I've not pushed myself in the past. I'm at a point in my career where I want to make films that matter, that explore humanity, explore struggle and pain. I want to be clear not to say that this is an abandonment of the big 4 quadrant movies. I love making them. There's tremendous value and importance, but there's a time and a place for them. And I'm at this point in my career where I want more. And he said Benny Safdie is the perfect collaborative, hungry partner for me. So what are your thoughts on that? There's a lot of big words from The Rock. First of all, Rock's an intelligent guy, but it's a lot of big words from The Rock to try to kind of convey this. And I saw someone tweet out that they imagine The Rock sitting on the set with the Santa Claus outfit on going, there's got to be something more for me in this life. So what do you think about the comments here from The Rock about this?
I mean, it was a little like, hey guys, I'm not leaving big budget movies forever. Don't, you know, like I'm not going anywhere. Don't forget about me. Yeah. It had a little bit of that to it, but I think this was the necessary step in his career, that he did probably take a long look in the mirror and was like, you know, I can make these big budget movies for streamers, right? Like Red Notice and Red One, but like ultimately they disappear into the ether. There's no stickiness when they do the highlight reels of Hollywood of the last 100 years in Hollywood. Those movies will not be in them.
Yeah.
Okay. And The Rock, there is something more to him. I like that. That interview said that Benny had written him like a letter, being like, "Hey, I see something in you that you haven't had the chance to show, and I want to be the guy to bring it out of you." And I think that, you know, it may have taken a few years for the timing to line up and everything. But I'm glad that The Rock listened to that voice and was like, you know what, I am capable of so much more, and it's time to find out how much more.
Yeah. I like the idea, and I like the comments that he made. I mean, you know, The Rock's a smart guy. He puts that finger up and he can kind of see which way the wind is blowing and adapts to it quickly. And like you said, maybe, it's great that everyone is saying, because I mean, how can I say this correctly? Like every time a critic's come out against his movies, he's always like, well, the fans love it. And that's who we make it for, the audiences or whatever. But he's an artist. He's a creative. Whatever you want to say about The Rock, he's a creative. And he wants to be respected by the people who have respect in the town. He wants to be able to do the smaller independent stuff, test himself as an actor, and do the big budget stuff. So why not take the choice now? I mean, because when he was first starting out, he tried to play some of these more smaller independent roles like Southland Tales and other stuff. You saw him trying to play and expand, even be cool. That was a great character in a not a great movie. So I like that he's got this ability to want to do this kind of thing. And maybe just sitting on the set with all these big budget action movies. And I imagine, Jeff, it's way less of a toll on his body. The Rock's not getting younger. I mean, he looked fantastic on, was it SmackDown or Raw the other night? He looked incredible, but it must take a toll on your body at that age to do these physical action movies. So why not slow it down and do some of these smaller films that'll maybe extend your life in those movies down the road? I don't know. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, again, I think it's the right move for him right now at this point. And I'm excited to see what the two of them come up with together.
Fair enough. All right, let's move on to this Jenna Ortega story before we take a quick break. Jenna Ortega and Taika Waititi. There is rumors here, Jeff. You tell the story. It was on your website, or
it
on
sure was. It was on the Insider newsletter just yesterday, and I'm about to blast out another big one that we're going to talk about in the second half of this show.
Nice.
Yeah, I was a little scared. I told my pal Jamie Willaims, my consigliere, my right-hand man, I was like, dude, I got a fucking hot Jenna Ortega scoop. And he was like, well, you know, Daniel Rickman has had a couple of Jenna Ortega scoops over the last week or two. And I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
So I signed up for Daniel's Patreon.
Okay.
And he obviously does a very good job. And I looked at the Jenna Ortega scoops, but I was like, these aren't them.
Oh, you saw that?
This,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, listen, I'm sure she has a whole bunch of irons in the fire and things in the
Yeah.
works, but
Sure.
it's not what I've heard. So I was relieved.
Okay.
Anyways, yes. So like Scream 7, she dropped out of it. So that opened up her schedule a little bit. Like she thought that she was going to be probably filming that in the first half of this year. Taika Waititi, I think, has been struggling a little bit to get this movie off the ground.
Yeah.
Right. Like I just don't know if like anyone has wanted to step up in the wake of like, you know, Next Goal Wins didn't really perform, and then Thor didn't perform, and you know, but like, listen, this guy's a talented director, I think.
Yes.
You know, yeah, you can't keep going back to the well. And I thought that the last Thor movie was terrible. I liked Next Goal Wins. It wasn't great. It wasn't as good as like Hunt for the Wilder People or Jojo Rabbit, but like that was fine. It just kind of got a bad rap with Fassbender and everything. Anyways, Clara and the Sun is like an Ishiguro novel. It's like an acclaimed book. People are like, oh, I don't understand why Taika Waititi's directing this. But other people can see, but with Jojo Rabbit and some of the humor that I think is in the novel, that like this could be a fit. And he needed a big star. He needed an anchor for this movie. And Jenna Ortega is that anchor, right?
Oh, Jeff froze. Yes. All right. So just to let you guys know, until Jeff comes back, the plot of the story is that Clara, an artificial friend with an outstanding observational qualities, who from her place in the store watches carefully the behavior of those who come in to browse and of those who pass on the street outside, she remains hopeful that a customer will soon choose her. So it's interesting. Maybe a little ex machina situation going on here. As Jeff said, he says in his newsletter, on paper, it's one of the weirder director-author partnerships in recent years. We'll see how it turns out, as a production is set to begin in March. And he said, I should also mention that Waititi's film Next Goal Wins was released this past November to very mixed reviews. So until Jeff comes back, this is an interesting story. I mean, I like the idea of Taika Waititi and Jenna Ortega coming together. And look, if he can convince her to be a part of something like this, and maybe the script and the story, maybe this is a novel that Jenna Ortega read, got her excited to be a part of it. So it would make sense to use that. And it would make sense for Taika to use some of the good publicity around Jenna to put him in the movie, to put her in the movie as his lead. So, sorry, Jeff, go ahead. You were cut off. Are you still there, or did we lose you?
I had dropped out.
Okay.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes. I just gave them the synopsis.
What a
yeah, sorry about that, man. I just gave them the synopsis and told them how you felt it was a weird director-author partnership. So go ahead.
I didn't think so. I think that's what people who have read the book have said. That they're like, gotcha. Oh, why is it Taika? But others, think that his sensibility, that which you can see in Jojo Rabbit, and then some of the humor that may be in that book, that he is the right fit. He just needed an anchor, right? And Jenna Ortega is that anchor.
Yeah.
Have we did we talk about this? Did this make it on the air?
No, go ahead. Yeah, you were saying that. Yeah, and you felt that Jenna Ortega was the right choice for this role.
Right. Kroll had said when he broke the news about Taika directing this that it was going to be one of the most sought after roles for actresses in their 20s. Obviously, Jenna Ortega, one of the biggest actors in their 20s. Yeah. And I think this is the right, because like she's been playing these kind of darker parts. Beetlejuice 2 is going to be a goth role. Wednesday is going to be a goth role.
Yeah.
She's in this Miller's Girl thriller where she's kind of seducing the teacher, and even the one actually it came out today. Yeah. That Trey Edward Schultz's new movie with The Weeknd and Barry Keoghan. Did you see what it's about?
No. What is it about?
It is a loose remake of Misery.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So The Weeknd is going to be playing, a big pop star or whatever, and Jenna Ortega is going to be playing his stalker. And so, anyways, these are all dark roles, is what I'm getting at, right? Dark roles. Right. And right. Jenna Ortega needs to do something light. She needs to do something that shows that she can be, a friend to the little children out there. And I think that's what Clara in the Sun is. I think it's a great role for her, and hopefully these talks will work out.
Any rumors of the weekend sex scenes in this movie? Are we going to get more of the weekend sex scenes that you so loved from that series in The Idol?
I don't think so. I doubt it.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right. Let's take a quick break here. We're at the 30-minute mark and let Jeff recoup on his internet there. And when we come back, we'll answer some Streamlabs and Super Chats and get into some more of these subjects here on the hot mic. We'll be right back right after this. All right. I want to say ahead of time, guys, I'm sorry. I'm having trouble speaking. My brain is not moving as fast as usual because I am just still recovering from whatever the fuck was going around here for a lot of people the last few weeks. I caught that shit, knocked me out for a bit. So I apologize if I'm stumbling over my words or if I'm not being as coherent as I usually am. So let's get into your Streamlabs and Super Chats that you all sent in. Let's see what you guys have to ask us here. Let's start with the first one here. That is from I Am Too Fly Cam. He said, Miss Obaid-Chinoy is single-handedly going to sink this movie before he even films. LOL. Despite how you feel, John Ray didn't connect with most Star Wars fans. RIP. And we also have another one here about, in my opinion, Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy's recent comments are condescending towards past female Star Wars TV directors. The last thing Disney and Lucasfilm needs is another PR disaster. What a bad way to start 2024 for them. So, Jeff, I got a lot of thoughts on this, and I don't mind opening the door and having the conversation now about her comments. We had it for later in the show, but we can do it now. But do you want to have a first take on this? What do you think?
All you.
Okay, this is the comment from Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, who is, of course, directing the new Star Wars film that's going to be focused on Rey. She was talking to CNN this past Sunday, and she said, I'm very thrilled about the project because I feel that we're about to create is something very special. We're in 2024 now, and it's about time that we had a woman come forward to shape a story in a galaxy far, far away. So, of course, as we saw from I Am Too Fly Cam and Mariana, some people really got into their feelings over this really innocuous comment. She's basically saying that she's happy to be directing a Star Wars film as a woman.
I agree.
And that she's going to be crafting this from a woman's point of view. She was not denigrating any of the female directors like Steph Green and Bryce Dallas Howard and was it Stephanie Chow who did the series The Book of Boba Fett. She was not anything negative. She wasn't shitting on Leia or Ahsoka Tano. She was simply saying that finally a woman gets to direct a theatrical feature in Star Wars with Rey, with other women leading the way. And there's nothing fucking wrong with that. I swear to God, men, reach down into your pants, find your fucking balls and your cock, and be okay with it. We can take a woman directing a film in Star Wars and live. We're all gonna fucking survive. I swear to God, you guys want to come off like you're tough motherfuckers, and you're a bunch of wusses. That if a woman can't direct a Star Wars film, you lose your fucking shits. Or that she says she wants to craft it from a woman's point of view. And yes, she went further and said, I like to make men uncomfortable. I enjoy making men uncomfortable because she wants to put shit out there for us to confront. You know how we solved civil rights in this country? We put it in people's faces and finally got them to understand it. They had to see hoses being turned on black people when they were protesting in the South in the 1960s for people to finally wake up. That was uncomfortable shit to watch, okay? So at the end of the day, she said nothing innocuous other than me she's a Pakistani Canadian journalist. She's a 2-time Oscar-winning filmmaker. I'm going to do a Star Wars film from a woman's point of view. And in 2024, I'm happy to do that. I don't know why men who are supposedly tough as shit and all strong and shit are losing their collective fucking minds over this comment in such a stupid way. There's my thoughts.
I agree with you that she clearly intended it as just like, it's an honor to be the first woman to direct a Star Wars feature. You know, obviously everyone, but you see those quotes and it's like, oh, this woman hates men. And then then you go down the rabbit hole and it's like, oh, well, what did she even do to get this job? Right. Because I never heard of her. And then it's like, oh, she hasn't really directed much. So, you know, and then it becomes a Kathy Kennedy thing. And it's just like,
which is what Shapiro
Let's
did.
wait and see what kind of movie she delivers.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, do I think that she? I mean, part of it reads almost like comments that get you fired. Like the kind of innocuous stuff that like Chris Landon would say, in the wake of Melissa Burr leaving Scream 7. Then it comes out that like, hey, I actually left Scream weeks ago.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It kind of reads like that. Like, is she even still on it at this point, or is she already off? And that's why she's able to talk like this. But like, either way, I don't think it's that big a deal. And I think that we just need to stop parsing the language of everyone who talks about Star Wars and just like fucking judge the movies.
Yeah, it's so fucking exhausting. Like, see, and this is this. I'm tired of this culture war Fox News bullshit. I agree with you. Fox News did a whole fucking segment today on their channel about these comments. And all these fucking dingbats were on there talking about, oh, Star Wars is woke. Star Wars is woke. And then Emily Campano, the lead dingbat, said after it was done, that's why I'm a Trekkie. And they all cheered her. It's like, Star Trek has been woke since its fucking inception. And this is the kind of stupidity that we're dealing with most of the time with stuff like this. And it gets so exhausting to deal with. And what men are doing when they react like this are just reinforcing the point of view that women have about this stuff. And I see men going like, well, if a man said that about women, this hasn't been a society that has been fucking over men led by women for decades or centuries, for fuck's sake. So to balance the scales a little bit, we're all going to fucking live, grow the fuck up and nut up and shut up and then see what happens when the film comes out. If it sucks, then it sucks. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You know what? I fought for the female Ghostbusters film. I was like, let it happen. You all need to calm down. When it came out, it wasn't good. And I said it wasn't good. But they've got a right to make those kind of films. She's got a right to make her kind of film. I don't understand why everyone gets all up in their fucking feels about it. And I get why the right wing does it, because they're invested in making money. But regular Star Wars fans going nuts about it just makes no sense at all. No sense at all. So, all right. I wanted to get off my chest, man.
I could tell that one was really bothering you as a Star Wars fan. This is why I just don't give a shit at all.
I respect that, brother. Thanks for letting me go off. All right. Gallia Production says DC scoops. Do we have any DC scoops, Jeff? Anything you got cooking in the hopper there?
No.
Okay, good. All right. Mike Joyce says, will The Rock finally be in a great movie? I feel like The Rock's been in a great movie, hasn't he? I mean, I liked Central Intelligence. I liked The Rundown. I liked a couple of those Fast and Furious movies that he was in. But maybe, I mean, God forbid, maybe there's something out there that he's doing with Safdie. What do you think, Jeff?
I don't give a shit. We have some breaking news. Wow, 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 wow.
I don't know, bro. Right, go ahead.
Just posted over at the Sneider.
The newsletter.
In a post exclusive to paid subscribers.
Okay.
Carrie Coon is in talks for the White Lotus season 3.
Ooh, really? Carrie Coon is in talks for the White Lotus season 3. Ghostbusters Carrie Coon, The Gilded Age Carrie Coon, Gone Girl Carrie Coon, The Leftovers Carrie Coon. She is in talks with White Lotus season 3.
Now I can fucking relax. Got that scoop out in the middle of this fucking show with internet problems, no less.
Yeah.
Yes, this is what I'm hearing. That Carrie Coon, star of The Leftovers, star of The Gilded Age, who stepped into...
What did I just say? Yes, go ahead.
She's an HBO favorite, is the point.
Yes. Yeah.
She has fans at the network, and she has fans among audiences at HBO.
Mm-hmm.
Mike White is casting a couple of mothers in season 3 of The White Lotus as well. You know, there's also a corporate executive.
Yeah.
Could be a woman. There's a whole bunch of roles. There's like 9 series regular roles.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at Carrie Coon's schedule, it's wide open.
Yeah.
Other than the Gilded Age being renewed shortly before the holidays.
Right.
But, I don't think that's just going to like jump right back into production. And obviously it's an HBO show, so they can work out the scheduling with her.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is what I hear, that Carrie Coon, TV royalty, between The Leftovers and Fargo and all the stuff that she's done, I hear she's the first new one to check in to the White Lotus.
I like it. She's great. I love Carrie Coon. I got a quiet crush on Carrie Coon. I think she's a damn good actress. Of course, some of you from the Marvel universe know her as Proxima Midnight. She's a great, great actress. And of course, the wife of Tracy Letts, who's a phenomenal actor and playwright himself. So she's such a good actress. So this might get me to finally watch White Lotus. I have not seen White Lotus. I've watched one episode and it bored me to tears. So I may actually watch White Lotus now to catch up, just so I can watch Carrie Coon on White Lotus. So I still can't cross the Gilded Age line. I can't do it, but certainly White Lotus might be interesting to me with Carrie Coon. So
I don't do the Gilded Age. That's not for me. But Carrie Coon is a great actress. She was so good in Gone Girl. She was good in Strangler too, even though that movie wasn't terrific.
Yeah, Boston Strangler. She was good in that.
And I think that she would kind of fit perfectly into the Mike White universe of it all.
Yeah.
She feels like, season 2 had Michael Imperioli, right?
F. Murray Abraham.
Sopranos. Right, but I'm saying season, with Sopranos, and then Sydney Sweeney was in season 1 from Euphoria. So it's she's kind of like got the HBO alum slot.
Yeah, for sure. That's great. Okay, cool. Breaking news. There you go from Jeff Sneider.
So subscribe to the Insider.com to read that scoop in full. And again, right now I have to sort of like put out the scoops like that. Like, hey, Carrie Coon is in talks for the White Lotus season 3. But like, hopefully I will get to the newsletter to a point where it's just like, let's just say Leftovers veteran cast in the White Lotus. So that you would actually have to click to find out who it was. I mean, obviously this stuff's going to leak anyway, but I definitely am mindful of people are paying for like a premium product. And you can't just give away everything, elsewhere. So.
Right. Absolutely.
But you also have to build the product into something that can sustain. Right. And so you have to spread the word, and that means sharing the scoops a little.
Yeah. Good point. All right, let's do some more of these Streamlabs and Super Chats. Jay Blink says, even if The Rock doesn't abandon 4 Quadrant movies, it'd be nice if his Safdie movie inspires him to do more commercial R-rated projects. I agree, Jeff. He's kind of ceded that to Dave Bautista. Bautista's kind of come in and been kind of regarded as a legitimate actor. People see The Rock as a movie star, not necessarily the same thing. So this could maybe change people's perceptions of The Rock. And certainly some of the criticism from Black Adam was that he wasn't believable in some of the more emotional segments of that film. So maybe he feels he's got to prove something, man.
Yeah, I think that The Rock does have something to prove, which is that he's an actor.
Yeah. Are we moving to computer now? All right, let's take you down here. There you go.
Well, hey.
Yeah. There we go. Sergio C says, have you guys seen the anti-men comments made by the director of the Ray film? Oh, here we go again. Why does Disney Lucasfilm keep hiring people like this? It's not anti-men. Jesus Christ. It's
pro-woman. It's pro-woman.
Yeah.
Making a man feel uncomfortable is not a bad thing. Art is supposed to affect us.
And guess what, men? You can fucking take it. For God's sakes.
Well, are you even a real man?
Yeah, if you can't take a little criticism, are you any kind of a real man? Fuck. Jay Blink says, and even when it comes to anybody else? Anybody get a chance? This is from Robert Giacinta. Anybody get a chance to check out Jake Johnson's Self-Reliance? Saw it at the theater last night and thought it was great. No, I haven't seen this. Have you, Jeff?
Didn't even know it was in theaters. Dying to see this movie. I think it looks like a blast, and I can't wait for it to hit Hulu. But yeah, I probably won't go to the theaters for that one.
Are you interested in the Dan Levy film that's coming out this weekend on Netflix? Are you going to watch that one?
I mean, I actually thought it looked okay, but the reviews have all sort of indicated it's kind of mid.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. And Jay Blink says, even when it comes to 4 quadrant movies, it'd be nice to see The Rock become drawn to movies driven more by storytelling than selling points. I feel like you're reiterating what you're saying already, Jay, but yeah, we agree for sure. Wiley OFC says, John, will The Color of Money ever get a Criterion? I don't know. Jeff, were you saying that you recently saw that and you thought it was damn good, or was it someone else I was talking to about that?
Yeah, I think that was somebody else.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's worthy of that treatment, but
Yeah.
what a random question.
It's his favorite
I'm
movie.
gonna go no. I'm gonna go no. It doesn't.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to get one. Wiley's one of my longtime followers, and he's been very kind to volunteer to cut up our show into segments, which we'll be doing in the new year and dropping on the Outlaw Nation and other places. And Color of Money is one of his favorite films, so he's always been wanting a Criterion.
Color of Money.
There you go. All right. Love Daggerborn says, hey, as you know, the alt-right blames Disney movies failing at the box office because they are, quote, woke. Do you think that what they call woke has any impact? And if so, how big do you think it is? Yeah, Jeff, we've talked about this on the show. The idea of like, are they kind of corrupting people from going to the movie theater because of some of the approaches that people have to these films or how they frame these films? Do you think that's affecting the box office for some of these films, or do you think it's not?
I think people have audiences are smart and have come to deduce like what is a movie I need to see in theaters and what is a movie I can wait to see at home, especially with with their TVs getting bigger and better and sounding better than ever, and all that kind of shit. I mean, again, I wish that there were like package deals for movies, like to go to a movie, a family of 5. Let's say the tickets are $20. That's $100. Or you wait a few months and you watch it all together with your family for $4.99.
Yeah.
Seems like a no-brainer.
That's true. That's true.
And that's just one, and that's $95 savings for just one movie. Imagine if you're saving $95 every movie. I mean, so I think that unfortunately during the pandemic, we did train audiences to expect, entertainment at home and for it to arrive quicker than ever. And it is.
Yeah. True.
I mean, other than Nolan and Killers of the Flower Moon and Mission Impossible, right? Unless you have that kind of juice, your movie is on VOD in 17 days and on a streamer in like 3 months.
Well, and they just announced that Killers of the Flower Moon's coming out on January 12th on Apple TV.
Right, that's a long time after it opened in theaters. That got a long theatrical run.
Yeah. Society of the Snow just came out, and you've got all these other films already. Holdovers is already on Peacock, so yeah, there have been a few of these that have already come out a lot quicker than I remember in the past, brother. So it's interesting time for sure. Daniel Rickman said, Steven Yeun already had a costume test. I would love that image to leak. That's from Robin. Yeah, Jeff, do you think it'll leak the costume test? Do you think Daniel was on point with that, that there was a costume test?
I'm sure there was, and the answer is no. I do not expect it to leak.
Yeah. Love says, do you think we will hear who will take over as James Bond this year? And if so, when do you think? Yeah, there were some stories about that. I had heard from a couple of sources that Nolan and Broccoli had kind of gotten pretty far in the conversation. But at the end, as you had kind of intimated a few months ago, just didn't see eye to eye on where they wanted to go with that. So do you think we will hear about a new James Bond anytime soon?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah. I think we'll hear... I mean, I don't know. I don't know if we'd hear by the end of the year. I imagine we'd hear like a filmmaker by the end of the year.
Yeah. I would like to think so. Also, Love said, do you think we can see Matt Bomer in Marvel or DC? What character can you see him playing? Dr. Doom. Of course, Matt Bomer in Maestro, which is also out now on Netflix for you all to watch streaming. He plays the lover of Leonard Bernstein there, Bradley Cooper's character or real life character in the movie. Yeah, Matt Bomer, good looking dude. So, do you see him in Marvel or DC, or is he more of a bit part player? What do you think there?
Yeah, he's definitely a supporting guy. He's not a movie star, but with the authority, if you really have these two, gay superheroes, right?
Bomber would be great.
He could be one. He could certainly be one. What if it was him and Luke McFarlane?
Done.
I think Luke McFarlane's great. Like, I think he's charming. I think he's good looking. He's got the right build. Like, so he could be great as one of those guys. But yeah, Matt Bomer could be good as the other. There's a couple of folks. And again, So like, remember like the Green Lantern show that was going to be,
Yeah.
right, was with Jeremy Irvine and Finn Wittrock.
Yes.
Finn Wittrock is a guy I could see coming back into the picture potentially at some point.
That could be interesting for sure. And one last one here, the Badass Times. Off topic, why is Ben Foster not a movie star? Just saw his latest film, Finest Kind. Film had too much going, but he jumped off the screen as always. Well, I think that's why. You just answered your own question.
Yes, he did. He did. I thought the same thing.
Ben's choices don't always necessarily lend themselves to him becoming a movie star. He is always great in the films he chooses to be in, but I don't think Ben wants to be a movie star, or Ben would have gone that route. And so he chooses these films that don't necessarily convey that. You know what I'm saying? What do you think, Jim?
I think he's a classic character actor. I mean, he's like too like twitchy and, you know, to be like a movie star. I mean, he's like a classic character actor. He's not the Chris Pine. He's the brother of Chris Pine, you know, in Hell or High Water. There's a reason he doesn't play the Chris Pine role, you know. He's the shifty one. And he's, you know, Finest Kind is okay. It was a little frustrating for me anyway. Being from Boston, that area, I was like, you know, I buy half this movie and I don't buy the other half. But you know, I think he's a great actor, but he doesn't have those leading man looks, those traditional leading man looks.
Yeah, I think you can look at him that there's like Ryan Gosling is the movie star version of Ben Foster. That's kind of in the same ballpark, right? But what I think you can look at with Ben Foster is that there's a Cillian Murphy route for him, possibly. And by that, I mean, there could be a series as he gets older in HBO, on HBO, or any of these streamers that becomes a hit because Ben is such a great actor, where he could lead the show, and that could possibly lead to him being a lead in a movie that makes a lot of money down the road, because good actors always survive. And people respect and love Ben Foster's work. So I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. So Melissa Barrera has doubled down on her activism. Will this ruin her career going forward? She's no Jane Fonda. I can't possibly read that Russian name there. I think that's Russian. I don't think it'll ruin her career. I think a lot of people came away, whatever your feelings are about that situation, I think in terms of the Hamas and Israel situation, I think people came away from that feeling respect for her as much as people felt that she deserved to be taken off the screen. So I don't think it ruins her career at all. What do you think, Joe?
I don't think it ruins her career, but I also don't think executives are eager to work with her. You know, I don't think producers are going to be eager to work with her. She now has baggage. She now, you know, is on the record with a certain opinion that, you know, is controversial to some. And, you know, of course there will be people who still work with her. There are still people who work with fucking Kevin Spacey and Mel Gibson and shit. Right. You know, Melissa Barrera she's certainly not in that boat. But do I think that she cost herself some jobs and relationships? Yes.
Yeah. Well, and also, let's be honest, she's not the strongest of actresses. So that if you're looking for a reason not to cast her, then you've got your reason if you want it. So that's another way to look at it as well. All right, let's see here. What else have we got? Let's jump into a real small story. Oh, yeah, David Ayer. Jeff, let's talk about this. David Ayer said he's done with DC now. Apparently, he has gotten some kind of notification that his cut of the Suicide Squad will never see the light of day. In a series of posts, Ayer said, frankly, I'm done with DC. He was asked about whether he's going to push for the Ayer cut for Suicide Squad. He said, nope, done and done. I feel healthier. It's a wound that needs to heal. Nothing about the situation feels good. Studio has no interest in releasing it. It's time to run and not look back. I'm good. Don't need to be walking around with a begging bowl. Going to protect my heart here moving forward. So, Jeff, this must be no surprise to you, but what do you think about these tweets from David Ayer and the situation being done with his cut of the Suicide Squad?
Move on. Focus on the Beekeeper. Like, what are you doing? I hate these, like, when these filmmakers try to sell a movie by talking about a different movie. Where it's like, guys, my name's Michael Mann. Go see Ferrari. And now let me tell you about Heat 2. Right? Like, hey, it's David Ayer. I'm selling this movie, The Beekeeper, but let me keep talking about the Suicide Squad. I swear I got a bad rap for that one. Like, fucking move on, bro. You're David Ayer. You've done good shit in the past.
Yeah.
Like you made a shit movie. You want to say it's not your fault? Okay, great. You can sleep at night. You can look yourself in the mirror because the executives fucked you. Like I just, no one needs to see your cut. It's not worth spending another fucking penny on. I don't care how much better you say it is. And yeah, I'm not surprised James Gunn was like, fucking, let's move it along. Like, get out of here. Goodbye.
It's so frustrating because like End of Watch is good. Fury is good. He's done good movies, as you said. Why is this the movie that has like just sank him? I don't understand.
Zack Snyder has put it into these people's heads that they can like do something about it, right? And they can change history or something.
Right.
And it's like, nah, man, what's done is done. Like fucking, I mean, even the tax collector, I didn't think was terrible. Ayer's a talented dude.
It's a good director.
This is what happens when you sign up to make a huge studio movie. You have to compromise, and his film is compromised, and that's that.
I think he needs to look at Chad Stahelski and then let's start focusing. Like that's the route David Ayer can go. He directs really good action films, and yes, have some depth, have some complexity, have some nuance to your characters, knock yourself out. But like that's a path you can walk. But the more you complain about this cut, the lesser you have appeal to studios to work with you in these kinds of movies. So yeah, and I'm looking forward to Beekeeper because he's directing it. Yes, and it's Jason Statham. You know,
it looks like fun. People who see that trailer think it's fun. I think that Ayer could have another career as like a Rick Roman type of guy who takes these movies 100%. That we all think are going to be garbage, and elevates them a little bit.
Yeah, and shout out to Rick Roman who that most recent film of his, Kandahar, I thought was really good with him and him directing Gerard Butler in that film. If you haven't watched it, watch it. It's a damn good director. It's not getting enough credibility or credit for what he does as a director for sure. All right, one last thing before we take another break here. Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn comments here, Jeff. We got to talk about it. She was asked by Variety if she'd be up for coming back to play Harley Quinn. Of course, she's part of the Actors Roundtable that's up there for y'all to watch on YouTube. She said, I always wanted Harley to be a character that would get passed on to other actresses to play the way that there are so many iconic male characters. That was always a dream for her. Harley's so fun and can go in many different directions. You put her in someone else's hands and it's like, what are they going to do with her? The options are endless. And of course, we know Kaylee Cuoco voices over Harley Quinn in the series they have on Max. But what are your thoughts on this, Jeff? This sounds like she's, walking away from the character. Speaking of David Ayer and Suicide Squad, she's walking away from this character that she brought to screen, in live action screen. First.
It's a new dawn. It's a new day. She's bigger and better than Harley Quinn. She did Barbie. She doesn't need that shit anymore. And they can move on without her. Like, they don't, obviously they'd love to have Margot Robbie back, but that's of a different regime. It's of a different time. They need their own Harley Quinn. Whether that's for the Batman Part 2 or 3 or some other DCU James Gunn movie. I have no fucking idea. But
all right, well then let me ask.
They need to establish their own identity with her.
Who should take over? Who would you look at if they were going to go with a new Harley Quinn in this James Gunniverse of DC? Where would you go? Who would you look at?
I mean, it depends. It's like, is she the Harley Quinn to Barry Keoghan's Joker?
Okay.
Does she have to have chemistry with him? So I think that is like a big factor, right? Like, who is she playing off of, and what is the age of that actor? Right. Could she? Do they have to be the same age? Could she be a little bit older? People think. I think Sydney Sweeney's not a bad choice.
Sure.
I see a lot of interesting names here. I don't think Mia Goth is kind of like the obvious one. I don't know that that's a fit.
Okay.
I think that Harley Quinn has to be sexy.
Yeah.
So like someone was talking to me about this and they were like, well, what about Anya Taylor-Joy? And it's like, I don't find her sexy.
What? You're an insane person and you need to be locked away. What is wrong?
I'm not saying she's not beautiful, but there's a like, you don't have to be beautiful to be sexy. These are two totally different things.
Listen, I can delineate beautiful from sexy, but yes, I think
Lily James is not I did think of Lily James Wiley, after the Pamela Anderson of it all. But there's someone I have in mind who I actually think would be really good, but she's just a little old.
Okay.
How old is too old?
Depends on where you're going to put her, right?
Well, give me an age. Just throw something out. How old is
How about
too old?
Pattinson? I mean, Pattinson is what, 37? What if you were to slide Harley Quinn into his Batman and Matt Reeves, or the Batman
Is
that you got?
Pattinson 37 years old?
Yes.
Okay, well then that's great because my actress is 38.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, here we go.
All right, go ahead.
My pick for Harley Quinn. She is a recent Oscar nominee who has done absolutely garbage since that Oscar nomination.
Okay.
She is a recent Emmy winner.
Okay.
And Golden Globe winner.
Jesus Christ.
She is beautiful and sexy, and I think she's a great actress. But just terrible taste in movies lately.
Okay.
And that is Amanda Seyfried.
Ooh, that's a nice choice. That is a nice choice. I tell you what, it's funny you bring her up because I've been watching scenes from The Dropout on YouTube all week this week because I kind of want to start that series all over again because I really loved her performance in that show. I could absolutely see her as a new Harley Quinn.
So Shire says your casting is 10 years so too old. And it's like they're probably right. Like the Amanda Seyfried that I'm thinking of in my head may be the Amanda Seyfried from 10 years ago, right?
Like Mean Girls or something, yeah.
No, I mean that's a while. That's like even too far back. But I'm thinking, but like here's another reason why I threw Amanda Seyfried in there.
Okay, go ahead.
They owe her.
Well, that's a fair point.
You know why? Do you know why?
Why?
They threw her movie in the trash the same day they did Harley Quinn. Or the Batgirl. Sorry.
What's the movie? What's the movie?
Scoob.
Oh, that's right. The Holiday Haunt.
She was Daphne in Scoob. So the same way that people were like, oh, well, maybe Leslie Grace will be in this or that because, Warner Brothers needs to make it up to her or whatever. Like, they kind of fucking owe Amanda Seyfried too. Seyfried, I don't know how we are pronouncing her name anymore, but.
Yeah, Seyfried.
I think the Dropout proved that she can really act.
Yeah.
I think she looks great. But I get that she is close to 40.
Yeah, I like the idea. I was a fan of the Anya Taylor-Joy thing, but of course she's just played a young Charlize Theron, so I don't know if she would want to step into someone else's roles. But I'll tell you what, I saw a trailer this week for Death and the Other Details. That is the new murder mystery series coming to Hulu on January 16th. I did a trailer reaction for it today. Nobody's watching it. I don't care. But Violet Bean in that trailer absolutely convinced me that this is an actress that we should be considering for roles like this, like Harley Quinn, like other things. Watch that trailer. There is a confidence and a strength from her that I did not see in the Flash series when she played Jesse Quick. And I'm like 100% supporting Violet being in these conversations for roles like this. Watch that trailer and tell me I'm wrong, man.
I like that trailer. And I wrote about it in the newsletter today, actually. It was the featured trailer. I didn't get that vibe from her, but admittedly, I didn't watch it with that in mind. So let me go back and take a look at that.
Millie Alcock. Do you think that is a good show? Caitlin Deaver? No.
I don't even know who these people are. Millie Alcock. I barely know who Dove Cameron is.
Yeah, I don't see Aubrey Plaza. No, I don't see that happening.
I thought about Plaza today, but no, I don't see it either.
All right, just throwing it out there. All right, one last thing.
Garner, I know Garner's a popular pick online. She would be good. She's she's fantastic.
She could be a good Harley Quinn could
Okay, we can move it.
Yeah, you sure? Okay, all right.
Whatever you want. I don't give a fuck.
No, you're just flying by the seat of your pants.
I got my fucking newsletter. I got nothing to do the rest of the night. Shit.
As long as your internet is working, that's what matters, for God's sakes, So, but let's move to one more thing because it's connected to connected to Margot Robbie and Harley Quinn and all of this. But Jeff, your thoughts on Barbie now being deemed an adapted screenplay by the Writers Branch Executive Committee of the AMPAS. So it will now be only in consideration for the Oscars, not for any of the other awards, but for the Oscars solely for Best Adapted Screenplay because it's based on the Barbie doll and the mythology of Barbie. Do you think this is fair when something like Ayer, which is based on a Michael Jordan shoe, is not an adapted screenplay, but this is an adapted screenplay? Is it because it's in the world of Barbie? What are your logical reasons for this?
Honestly, I have no fucking idea. There's no rhyme or reason to anything anymore. I mean, obviously, I understand. It says in the fucking credits, like based on
Yeah, right.
Barbie by Mattel. Like it says it right there.
Yeah,
But you're right. It's like, okay, Spotlight's an original screenplay
right,
because it's not based on a book or anything like that, but it's based on a true story. So
right.
like everything in Barbie is very original, but like the characters of Barbie and Ken obviously existed, and settings like the Malibu beach house or
Right.
the dream house, whatever the fuck it is. And certain there may have just been enough where it's like, listen, you clearly are working off of a set of characters or a world that's already sort of been established.
Yeah.
But then why did the WGA see it differently? I mean, like, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me.
How does Maestro be possibly considered for best original screenplay when that is literally based on a dude's life and his relationships? That is, how is that?
Right, because
I
it
don't
didn't
know where
use
the
one.
delegation-
Because
Yeah.
it didn't use exactly. It's like I don't think it credits one book or anything like that, right? There's no because Maestro is original, right?
Right. Yeah.
And it's the same
Yeah.
guy
No.
who did
Right.
Spotlight. It's Josh Singer.
Yeah.
So it's like they're obviously pulling from a whole bunch of books that he's read about Bernstein and things that he's read, but it's not based on any single one, and so it gets to be called an original thing. I don't know. Isn't everything basically adapted at this point?
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, to me, it's weird on so many levels because there's nothing in the movie other than like the characters and their relationship that you can even call adapted, because the Barbie and Ken relationship is pretty much already in process or progress rather when you're watching the movie.
Right,
But
they already know each other. Right.
yeah, but everything they're doing, like women running the fucking land and certain Barbie people being in charge and men being the second class citizens, none of that is in any Barbie
I mean,
story.
that's all. You're right. It's original, but it's also like, well, is that scene based on President Barbie? You know, like I'm sure there was some president doll or whatever over the
Right, but was
years.
there any scene? I mean, is there anything in the animated films or like, I can't believe
I'm
that
sure there are. There's fucking 43 Barbie movies. I doubt that Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach
Yeah.
sat down to watch all 42 of them or whatever. But I'm sure that there are things that the live action Barbie has in common with past incarnations. Yes.
I just think it's
Again,
weird.
it goes back to someone else. It's the characters are pre-existing. That's really all that matters. It's why Knives Out 2 was adapted, even though that's an original screenplay. It just features this character that we've already met.
Yeah. Look, I know we got to go to break, but I want to ask you one more thing because I'm connected to this. I was reading that the gentleman who was involved in the Mary Kay Letourneau relationship, that
Vili.
he was married to her, then they got divorced. One of their daughters is apparently pregnant, so he's going to be a grandfather. But he finally watched May, December. And he said it was terrible and it was a violation of his story and that he was never consulted about this film. And even Julianne Moore said on the red carpet, it's not based on them. But the director said we would go and research that relationship to give us information to use in the movie. And the gentleman who was involved in this that I mentioned, I can't remember his name, he said, like, they lifted actual things from interviews I did to use in the movie for the character that Christopher Melton plays. So, Jeff, at what point is this a violation of a person's rights to their story because they're not going to make any profit off this movie or get any recognition for this movie? Where do you draw the line with something like this, man?
You don't draw a line. That guy's had how long to capitalize on this story monetarily?
I don't know. Of a long time.
Decades is the answer.
Sure.
He's had decades to make a movie of his own, to engage a Hollywood agent to sell his life rights, all kinds of shit. So you snooze, you lose. There's nothing, wrong about Todd Haynes making a movie like this. It's not the Mary Kay Letourneau story. He's not playing Vili. It's clearly inspired by that story.
Yeah.
But you don't own that scenario. You're not the first kid ever to fuck his teacher, or like, but
they clearly based the movie on his relationship and his experience.
From what I understand, like the photos that are in the tabloids are of Mary Kay Letourneau and Vili.
Yeah.
Right. Like I when they say that's what I always thought was weird. Like they're playing like this weird half reality, half fiction thing where like it's pretty clear they're playing the two of them, but they just have different names.
That's what I don't like about it.
Do you get to whine? I'm surprised that he wasn't maybe consulted at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I am a little surprised that they didn't like reach out to him or try to get his story to research him, or that Melton didn't approach him or whatever. But maybe that was like one of the things where it's like, listen, this guy's looking for a payday. We're a small movie, you know, fucking Christine Vachon production. Like, we're not looking to do all that, and we don't need his rights anyways. And we're just gonna go ahead and make this thing and steer clear from that. Don't even, you know, bring your own interpretation to it. I don't want his feelings to cloud your character.
That's fair, but you also got to look at it like you're saying there's an exploitive angle in this movie. So in essence, you're doing the same thing to him by exploiting his story and not giving him any kind of credit or monetary possible respect, or even putting his name as inspired by or anything like that. Just giving him some kind of, not even consulting him. To me, I think there's a little bit of exploitive going on. So it makes them hypocritical that they would use that angle in the movie when they're doing the same thing to the actual person, and they're trying to get away with doing it by blurring the lines for their own benefit as artists. And to me, that just kind of rubs me the wrong way in some way. So, but you know, maybe I'm in the minority on this. I don't know.
I think it sounds like sour grapes from a guy who just wished that he had been paid off.
That's a fair point. Hey, man, make that money. All right, let's take a quick break here, guys, and we're going to jump into some more stuff here as we go along. Keep sending in your Streamlabs super chats. We're going to read them as we go along in the show. We'll be right back right after this. What we got here? All right. All right, Jeff, we're going to get into the angry part of the show here for you. We're going to talk about the Golden Globes. The Golden Globes are this Sunday, January 7th. There will be some awards being given out here for Golden Globes. Do you want to do any predictions? What's your feelings on all of this, Jeff? Do you want to just kind of go through this? What's your feeling?
Rocha wants to know my feelings. He's setting me up. He already knows my fucking answer. No, I don't want to talk about the Golden Globes. I mean, you know, John can predict them because I know you guys are maybe interested, but this show is such fucking bullshit. It's totally compromised. The trades prop it up because it's owned by their boss. Yeah. No matter what happens, if 7 people watch this show and it's a total disaster, the night will be declared a success by the trades. Yeah, everyone will forget who won the awards 24 to 48 hours later.
True.
And this is just an event to fill airtime on Paramount Plus, basically.
Is that what's going to be on Paramount Plus?
It's going to be on CBS and Paramount Plus. This is just this is filler. The Golden Globes are not what they used to be. They're 300. They're voted on by 300 people who I've never heard of. Right? Just people who write for obscure international publications. I'm sure there's 1 or 2 in there whose work I've read, but it is really gotten to the point where it's totally absurd. And you know, they basically made Tim Gray, they put him in charge of it because everybody loves Tim Gray because he's the sweetest guy in Hollywood.
Tell me why there's a desire to become a voter for this kind of thing. Is it an ego stroke? What is the desire?
With the Globes, they get $75,000 to vote. I mean,
well, that's fair.
You know?
That's good money. I got no problem with that.
Yeah, no shit. I mean, it's better money than most people in this racket are probably even making. Yeah, they're getting flown all around the world. They're getting, you know, to rub shoulders with celebrities, and the celebrities want something from them.
Right.
You know? So I'm sure it's quite the life. And I do believe that there is space for a show called the Golden Globes that's voted on by critics, by reporters don't vote for shit. You realize why are there all these critics organizations? Critic this, critic that. What does Kim Masters vote for?
Yeah, I'd like to
know. Nothing.
Yeah,
because she's not a critic. She's a reporter. But we know the industry as well as anybody else.
True.
You know, but reporters don't get to fucking vote on anything. Nope, sorry, it's just critics. And they get to vote on a million things. We need to have them voting for the BFCAs, the CCAs, the NYFCs. It's all the same people. It's the same people voting for 7 awards a year. You guys realize this, right?
Well, and I think that's why we are making changes for the Hollywood Creative Alliance to allow people to be a part of it who are reporters, who are makeup artists, who are, and I'm not trying, I know you want to try, I'm not trying to lobby for our organization, which unfortunately
reporters who are makeup artists. What?
Well, I'm saying that we're opening the door to reporters, to artists, to makeup artists, to people who are in costuming, to all vote for these awards. It's not just critics. It's all people from
They're just the people in the industry awards.
Right. Yes, basically that. And they're voting for best picture, voting for best actor, voting for all that stuff. So it feels like more reflective of the industry than just the critics, which is what you are complaining, and rightfully so, complaining about, So yeah,
I just think the Golden Globes are a business, right? They are a night where everyone gets paid. Everyone has their hand out. The publicist who's accompanying the talent, the makeup artist, the hair person, the dress people, the fucking limo drivers, the fucking cooks, everybody. It is just another night for the industry to pay itself. And it's like, I think you could rebuild the goal, but like, why are we giving this power, the voting power, to these 300 completely random strangers who were recruited into this organization? I don't even know by who.
Yeah. That's a good point. Simplistic Grace says, I'm surprised how many pundits are putting weight into who wins the Golden Globes when the past 4 years they all said they didn't matter.
Because they're the same. They're all sucking from the same teat. From the awards fucking teeth. They're all at the trough. It's fucking insane. I mean, on FYC, listen, we had the debate too. Like, Mance is like, so we doing the Globes? And Perry and I looked at each other and we're like, no, we're not doing the Globes. Fuck the Globes.
Yeah.
And that said, HBO, you want to invite me to your Golden Globe party on Sunday night. But
all right, real quick. Let's do these real quick categories. Best Motion Picture Drama, Anatomy of a Fall, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, The Zone of Interest. I think Zone of Interest will win, but maybe it'll be Killers of the Flower Moon. What do you think there, Jeff? Anything you want to... Do you even want to opine on these, or should we just go through them?
No, you can go through them. I literally don't give shit. How am I supposed to know what 300 random people in the world think who just happened to get a byline at some publication randomly?
Musical or comedy, Ayer, American Fiction, Barbie, The Holdovers, May, December, Poor Things. I think Poor Things probably wins, although Holdovers is my choice. Animated film, The Boy and the Heron, which is great. If you guys haven't seen The Boy and the Heron, I highly recommend that from Miyazaki. Elemental, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Mario Brothers, Suzume, and Wish. I imagine Boy and the Heron will win because it's an international organization. Supposedly the Golden Globes, and that'll be where it goes. Best Actress, Lily Gladstone, Sandra Hüller, Greta Lee, Carrie Mulligan, Kaylee Spaney. A lot of people think it's going to be Lily Gladstone, but don't be surprised if Sandra Hüller gets the victory here. As I said, because it's international critics who are voting on this. Best performance by a male actor, Bradley Cooper, DiCaprio, Coleman Domingo for Rustin, Barry Keoghan for Saltburn, Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer, Andrew Scott. I don't see how Cillian doesn't win this, but maybe Cooper slides in and takes that. And Best Director, Bradley Cooper, Maestro, Greta Gerwig for Barbie, Yorgos for Poor Things, Christopher Nolan, Oppenheimer, Scorsese for Kills the Flower Moon, Celine's Song, Past Life. I bet they give it a Scorsese. Most of the time, the Golden Globes goes with the legend. But who knows? Maybe it's Nolan for Oppenheimer. Any thoughts on this, Jeff, real quick? No thoughts? No thoughts on this? Okay. Let's move on to something I tweeted about. I want to bring it up here because speaking of award shows, the Alliance of Women Film Journalists posted something for their award. Now, they gave out some great awards to Barbie and certainly uplifting women and female creatives within their ranks. And I thought that was great. But they also randomly had stuff like this. The Hall of Shame Award, taking note of miscreants and their unacceptable behavior. They put the AMTPTP in the studio heads for their despicable behavior concerning the SAG-AFTRA strikes and WGA strikes. Drew Barrymore for resuming her show. Greta Gerwig for crossing the WGA and SAG picket lines. And then they put Jonathan Majors for domestic violence and Danny Masterson sentenced to 30 years to life in prison after being found guilty of raping 2 women. How does it make sense to give all these awards to Barbie at your show and then also put her in the mix for the Hall of Shame Award with Jonathan Majors and Danny Masterson if this is about uplifting women and positive feminism. Doesn't make any sense.
You gotta. There's just no nuance in the world anymore, John. Everyone has lost their fucking mind.
All right.
Jonathan Majors accused of domestic violence. Danny Masterson accused of raping multiple women. Greta Gerwig crossed the picket line.
I don't understand. What's in the same category?
Total, like, I can't even with these people. Someone's getting
Here's
money.
some of the other ones.
Someone got money to write this.
I know the grand dom for defying ageism. Okay, and ageism is spelled incorrectly. Annette Bening, Julia Dreyfus, Jodie. I think it's fine. You're uplifting women of age who don't get a lot of roles in Hollywood. I'm fine with that. But the most egregious lovers age difference: Killers of the Flower Moon, DiCaprio was 49, Lily is 37. Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning, Tom Cruise and Haley Atwell, 20 years. Oppenheimer, Cillian Murphy, and Florence Pugh. Never mind that those are the actual ages of the people who were involved in it in real life. Ruffalo and Emma Stone. And they initially had Phoebe Waller-Bridge and Harrison Ford before they were called out for it and removed it because there's no love interest between those two in that fucking film. It's his niece or whatever, or godniece or whatever. So it was ridiculous. And then this one, she deserves a new agent. Anna de Armas, Candice Bergen, Jane Fonda, Diane Keaton, Mary Steenburgen, Toni Collette, Nia Bartolos, Reese Witherspoon. Do any of these women strike you as wallflowers who are dependent on their agent for the films they choose to do? There's an inherent insult in this from a society that's supposed to be uplifting women and creatives, and like it just didn't make any fucking sense. Am I misreading this or
no, you're not misreading it. People don't understand how the fucking industry works, John. They're morons.
These are journalists. I don't understand.
They're morons. Just because someone gives them a job, I'm telling you, they don't hire the smart, capable people for jobs anymore. Those people are gone. They've all started their newsletters and their fucking blogs, and they work independently. I'm telling you, it is wild the people I see with fucking salaried gigs out there.
Yeah.
Look, what should the agent have said? This is Nia Vardalos, who's known for exactly one thing.
Yeah,
my big fat Greek wedding. Yeah, do you think that his whole life's career is to fucking get more big fat Greek wedding movies made? It's not to discourage her from making part 3. It's to get part 3 made.
So I mean, it's not like her agent.
Book Club, the next chapter. Do you think that they're making a lot of movies with like a bunch of 75 and 80-year-old women as the leads? Their fucking agents, their whole job is to go to the studio and say, look at how successful Book Club was. We need to make Book Club 2. You need to make Book Club 2. You'll make money on it. That is like, what the fuck?
Well, that's my problem with this category. And I get that it's trying to be funny, but it's really funny in the wrong way because, and I get it, they try to do a disclaimer. It's not a put down. It suggests that actress is better than the role she's been given. She's not being given these roles, okay? Like the Candice Bergen, Jane Fonda, Diane Keaton, that's a sequel. They like working together, so they wanted to do the film again. So what? They did a sequel. Why are you trying to make fun of that? And Reese Witherspoon, this is a woman who's very successful running her own production company. You think she doesn't have her pick of roles? You think she depends on her agent to get her fucking roles? Are you insane? So it's just a weird way of supposedly being feminist, but really not. So I just felt the need to call it out. Because
blame the writers of these movies. Don't blame these women for wanting to work. Yeah, I mean, like, what the fuck?
It's very weird, man. Very, very weird. All right, let's see here. Let me get some more of these Streamlabs.
Everybody just wants to hire nice journalists who put things the right way, and they're not blunt or too objectionable or opinionated.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
Holy shit.
I saw people come out.
I called out in the Hollywood Reporter in the newsletter tonight. Hollywood Reporter, 49 of the most anticipated movies of the year. Now, they may very well have been right, factually. Maybe these are the 49 highest grossing movies of the year. Yeah. Not a single indie movie on the list.
Wow.
Okay. It's just all studio movies. It's just a list of movies, essentially. It's a list. It's like someone went on Box Office Mojo and just did the list of studio releases. No curiosity, no voice, no perspective, nothing. And it's like, well, what is the point of this? Who is this for? I get that we do different things, the Hollywood Reporter and me and my newsletter, but like, at least I show some intellectual curiosity and some taste. It's fucking wild. Yeah. I don't disagree with you, man. It's so weird on so many levels.
All right, let's hit some of these Streamlabs super chats here. Aiden Norris says somebody wrote into Doy Moy saying Walt Goggins, Woody Harrelson, Parker Posey, Jason Isaacs, Patrick Schwarzenegger, Carrie Coon, Michelle Monaghan, and more are in White Lotus season 3. Does it pass your smell test, Jeff?
I didn't know that. Shit, was that recent or what? I didn't see that.
So.
I do love Dumois as well. So I certainly didn't mean to steal one of her scoops, if that's what it was.
Okay.
But,
Dumois, is that how you say it? Okay.
But that is comforting that Carrie Coon is on the list, since I hadn't seen that post, and it backs up what I'm hearing, which is that it is Carrie Coon.
It's a nice, if it is true, it's a nice combination.
Was it today, really?
I think so.
Someone's saying it went up today. Hold on, let me see.
Yeah. All right, Megatube says Margot Qualley could be a good Harley.
Yeah, wait, it was 14 hours ago. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Damn. Well, then, yeah, that is the cast, according to this source.
Okay. Margot Qualley could be a good Harley, says Megatube 99. Sure. I don't think that's a bad choice, but I don't know if she's necessarily maybe more Poison Ivy, I would think. But yeah. I'm Two Fly Cam says, ooh, Boston hats are so gross. Had to say it. I mean, you're a Seahawks fan. You're not even in the playoffs yet. What are you talking about? Chris Corcoran says Shameen's comments on making men uncomfortable were from 2015 and related to the treatment of women in Pakistan. One of her films was about acid attacks. They're nothing to do with Star Wars. Come on, internet. I agree with you, Chris. Thank you for pointing that out. Thank you for making that clear. And I agree. And, and it's just crazy how men are they seem to be strong, but they come off so weak when they do that shit. Megatube99 says, did you see Majors is having his first post-guilty interview on GMA Good Morning America on Monday? Shouldn't he lay low for now? I think it's too soon. Yeah, Jeff, I was going to bring this up to you. So what do you think about this? It's supposedly happening on Monday with Good Morning America. He's only 2 to 3 weeks since the guilty verdict, since losing the position at Marvel. Do you think he should be doing an interview this quickly? If you were his PR person, would you tell him to lay low, or do you think this is a interesting decision to lean in that could work for him?
This was on, sorry, who?
Jonathan Majors.
Oh, yeah, very question. I saw that today. I was like, huh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
I guess it's probably his time to get his side of the story out there. Not that his side has not gotten out there, but she got the final word, which is guilty, right? So now he's going to try to either explain that guilty verdict or rationalize it, or really just make a plea for why it was a mistake and he should be allowed to go back to work or something like that. I mean, but I'm surprised that it was ABC News and a Disney, thing, given that he's likely out as king.
Yeah, that's odd. That's very odd on so many levels. I don't know that it's the right move because maybe their people saw so many people rallying to his side on social media and they're like, well, let's try to change the narrative. You're the famous person, not her. You can recapture the narrative, get on TV. I'm sure he's probably going to be there with his girlfriend. I think it's Megan Good is his girlfriend. I'm sure he's going to try to convey. He'd probably sit there with a Bible in his hand the whole time and try to change the narrative about him. But I don't know, man. I would lay low and just let this thing blow over because so many people are kind of on your side. I would just kind of let it blow over and then deal with it later. Mr. Poppy says, Happy New Year, boys. I'm rooting for Bradley Cooper to win Best Actor, Best Director, just because I want to hear him thank Howard Stern during his acceptance speech. Baba Booey to you all. That's old school Baba Booey there. Jeff, do you think Cooper has any chance to win a Best Actor, Best Director here down the road at the Oscars?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think Maestro is just a little bit too divisive, which is what I thought all along. I mean, I told you I got out of that movie. I was like one of the first ones at the party, and there were already journalists there who had left even and gotten there somehow before me. And it was all very negative. It was just like, yeah, that was not good. And I mean, I was a little bit, more positive than them, but I could tell that like if these people had a problem, it was going to be an issue. And I just don't think again, Bernstein or whatever means much to my generation. And they just didn't explain what made him such a genius. It was honestly, it was too hung up on his sexuality. I thought Bradley Cooper was preoccupied with the wrong thing. As good as he was in the movie, as good a job he did, it wasn't as good as A Star Is Born, and there are better performances this year.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think the film lost its way in what it was supposed to tell. Like, give us make it a two-hander about his life, about his abilities as an artist and as a creative person, and his romances and what have you. Let's have them both. Plenty of biopics have been able to show both in their approaches to these characters. So just kind of real life characters, just kind of surprising the maestro kind of dropped the ball, just like Napoleon. It just seems like these directors are forgetting that these connections with their significant others are really the important things in the movie. Get that right, and then focus on their abilities, either as generals or as creating symphonies as composers, so that we can enjoy that as a foundation, and then apply that to what we're watching when they're creating the things that they're creating, or or doing what they do as their profession. So it just seemed an odd thing. And seeing people giving it 4 or 5 stars, I'm really just kind of confounded by that on so many levels. All right, let's see. I'm Too For Like Am says, John, my super chat was to the damage or comments will do to the box office performance of a movie. I personally don't believe this movie will even happen. Anyways, Jeff, who is playing Robin in the Batman 2? Is it filming later this year? Yeah, Jeff, do you know anything about that? Is Robin going to be a part of the Batman? Do you know anything about that?
I can't say for sure one way or the other. I mean,
Okay.
It makes sense that they would bring in Robin at some point,
Yeah.
I would do it sooner rather than later. Like, we just haven't gotten enough Robin in general. But do I know specifically like that they're looking for him yet? No.
Yeah, I don't know either. All right, let's take another quick break here. And then when we come back, we'll hit any other things we want to hit, and then we'll wrap up the show. If you want to send in your Streamlabs or Super Chats, this is the last opportunity to do so. We'd appreciate it. We're right back right after this. All right, Jeff, I'm barely standing, so let's get through these last sections here. Trailers for the first Omen. What did you think of this 1-minute trailer for the first Omen?
That it didn't look good.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, no. I mean, this is just like it's the same iconography as all these fucking religious movies. I don't care about The Nun. I didn't see The Rite. None of this shit appeals to me.
Okay. I thought it was a fine trailer for what it was. Everything just goes backwards for a minute. You get a little Bill Nighy action, and we see I forget the actress's name, was playing Margot as the main focus, but clearly it seems like she's been chosen since birth to carry the devil's baby. A little bit of the Rosemary's Baby kind of aspect to it all, but also a little bit of the Mother Mary story in reverse, of course, because she was supposedly chosen by God to carry Christ. So maybe they're playing at that a little bit, but yeah, would have liked something more from the 1-minute trailer other than scary music, talking under the whispers. Would have liked a little bit more of that. Death and Other Details. That was a good one. We already talked about that. But anything more you want to say on that particular trailer?
Not really, other than I think it looks, like a fun murder mystery. I mean, Hulu's had success with those in the past with Only Murders in the Building, and this looks like it has like a little bit of a Knives Out vibe to it. I wish that the cast had a little bit more firepower, but that's, when you're shooting on a boat like that, a luxury cruise ship or whatever in the Mediterranean, I assume that's where the majority of the budget went. So it doesn't, you don't need a big name cast if you have a great script and a crackling mystery, and Mandy Patinkin is a great anchor, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I am too. It's really smart. You get Mandy Patinkin, who's a very established guy, and for the older crowd that loves murder mysteries, they know Mandy, right, from Criminal Minds, other things that he's been a part of. And then you get a young actress like Violet Bean, that's going to bring in the younger people, so you get the good mixture of both trying to solve this crime. And I like the way Mandy's playing this character of Rufus Cuttersworth or whatever. I like that vibe to him. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well to see what we're going to get when it's all over. Night Swim. You got a chance to see Night Swim? Anything you want to say about it? The reviews are out in numerous places, so I think the embargo's up. Anything you want to say?
Yeah, I'm going to write out a longer review for the newsletter tomorrow because I want to get that White Lotus story out today, but it wasn't good. I sat next to Christian and we had some laughs during it. There was a lot of unintentional laughter. If you read, I think it was Deadline's review today, they referenced that laughter.
Through the movie is what you're saying.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it wasn't. It's not getting good reviews. I'm skipped out on my screening last night because I wasn't feeling well, and so I'm glad I did. I don't feel bad about that. at all when it looks to that. All right, what else?
We have some breaking news.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
It goes back to the Steven Yeun story.
Oh, yeah.
Which is that Steven Yeun is supposedly set to star in Lee Isaac Chung's next movie.
Ooh.
Which is a small love story that is going to be written by Eric Roth, the Oscar-winning writer, and produced by Bong Joon-ho.
Oh, interesting.
This is according to Jordan Rumi at World of Real.
Okay.
So yeah, it sounds like that may be the thing that is pulling Steven Yeun away. Although that's not what I'd heard. I'd heard it was a personal issue, but maybe he shoots this later in the year. I don't know.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, I like that. And of course, isn't Lee Isaac Chung who did Beef? So they have a connection through that. Is that correct?
Lee Isaac Chung did Minari.
Oh, Minari. Sorry. So that's what.
Yeah. He did Minari, and he's directing Twisters.
Okay, cool. Yeah, which is coming out soon, later on this year. Ke Huy Quan he's set to be the lead in a film called With Love. It's an action film from 87 North. What are your thoughts on this? From David Leitch and Kelly McCormick's 87 North, who did Bullet Train and are doing The Fall Guy later on. What do you think about this? Ke Huy Quan lead?
It's interesting. It's
Okay.
risky. I think it's risky. I mean,
Okay.
he's one of these guys who, I think everybody really likes Ke Huy Quan.
Yes.
I was thrilled that he won the Oscar. I'm happy for him. He's got a great story.
Yeah.
Is he a movie star on his own?
I don't know.
On his own, right? Not backing anybody. I don't know about that. But it all depends again on the budget. And so what is this movie? Well, it's from 87 North. Okay, well, what kinds of movies do they make? Well, they make movies like Violent Night.
Yes.
With David Harbour and Nobody with Bob Odenkirk. Right. So if that's what this is, and it's sort of about, maybe this quiet older Asian man who gets pushed too far, and it's like some sort of crazy action movie.
Yeah.
That could be interesting. That could be cool.
Yeah.
But I also don't know that he's a draw like a David Harbour might be, or like
Odenkirk,
yeah.
I mean,
we'll see. Either of those guys are huge draws, but
right. But we'll see. I mean, I think with him, it's interesting because he was, when he wasn't booking roles, he was working as a stunt coordinator, fight choreographer on numerous films, including X-Men. So for him, this is probably going to be something in his wheelhouse. And so, yeah, it could be just like Nobody, where he's, like I said, mild-mannered guy who gets pushed, and so he has to do things. I mean, The Foreigner is a fantastic film with Jackie Chan that is out of the norm of what he usually does, and getting him to use his abilities as a fighter in the construct of that movie, I thought was great. So maybe there's a semblance of that in this film here too. That could be fun to explore with Ke Huy Quan, which I think would be cool to see, to be honest with you. So, what do you want to talk about the Stahelski stuff, or do you want to leave that alone? I know you texted me about it. Do you want to say anything about it, or no?
I'm sorry, what?
The Chad Stahelski stuff. Do you want to talk about it?
No, I mean, yeah, he just said, that he would love to take a shot at Blade, if that opportunity opened up, that he thinks that he could really do something with that. And I think he would be really great doing a Marvel movie.
Yeah, I would love to see him do Blade. I think he'd be incredible doing Blade. I'd be 100% with Chad Stahelski, on board with Chad Stahelski doing Blade. All right, well, Adam Jimenez says, happy 2024, guys. I just want to encourage everyone to see Society of the Snow and How to Have Sex, the two best films I saw last year. Have you seen any of these two? I've not seen Society of the Snow. That's up on my list for this weekend. Jeff, have you seen it, or How to Have Sex? Have you seen that one?
I haven't seen How to Have Sex, which I hear is fantastic, but Society of the Snow is amazing. It's, basically the best movie of the year. Like if I got an Oscar ballot, this was in the newsletter last night too, but if I had an Oscar ballot, I would vote Society of the Snow Best Picture.
Wow. Jeff, that is strong words. Okay. All right. I'll keep that in mind when I'm watching. Parker says, happy New Year to you both. Just saw Poor Things. Whoa. If I missed you talking about it, forgive me, but what did you both think? Jeff, real quick, what did you think of Poor Things?
Didn't care for it.
All right. I I liked it for what it was trying to do, but I don't see what everyone's falling all over themselves about. I really don't. And maybe because it seemed like pretty connectable points of views and philosophies on it all. Although Ruffalo was great, honestly. And so is Emma, of course. But like, I just don't see why everyone's going crazy about this one. For me, it's still holdovers and Oppenheimer. Those are my top 2 favorites still. Nothing's surpassed those 2. So I don't know. All right, so there you go. Yeah, Jeff, do you want to answer this? Do you want to talk about the Aaron Rodgers McAfee situation, or do you want to leave that alone? I mean, it's kind of connected to Disney or whatever. Do you want to leave it alone?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we're going to leave that alone. All right, that's all the Streamlabs and Super Chats. Anything more we want to cover here, or shall we wrap it up, my friend?
We can wrap it up.
Okay, we're going to... I'm losing Jeff. All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching.
I don't fucking understand this shit.
What's wrong now? What's wrong?
Just fucking Stripe and dealing with fucking payments and fucking Beehive and all this fucking shit. All I want to do is run a fucking newsletter. All I want to do is fucking write. Now they make me run a fucking business because I can't get a fucking job in this town. It's fucking insane. I'm way more talented than all these fucking writers.
There you go. Jeff got it out of his system, ladies and gentlemen. Well, you said there's going to be speed bumps, so you've got to be able to ride over the speed bumps as well.
I know. I need to be patient. When people are trying to give me money and they can't give it to me because of fucking technology, or they give me the fucking money and then I can't deliver what I fucking promised them because somebody fucking, it's fucking infuriating.
All right. So clearly I need to get the Patreon up as quick as possible for Jeff, for God's sakes, because I know how to get that going. All right, well, let's get on out of here. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us. We appreciate it madly. Thanks for all the Streamlabs and Super Chats. Thanks for putting up with me while I'm super ill. I'm sweating to death right now. I got to go lie down and rest. Jeff, another fun show. Please let people know where they can find you and subscribe to your newsletter and what have you, please.
TheInsnider.com. It is worth every penny. I'm dropping bombs, folks. Not holding anything back.
Do you have any articles coming up on LA Mag or anything?
I have a piece in print in LA Mag.
Okay.
About the Oscars, but like, God, that was so long. I wrote it so long ago. It's probably outdated. I don't know.
Okay. Haunted_Autumn says, Happy New Year's, boys. Much love. Thank you very much, Haunted. We appreciate it. As for me, if you can follow me at The Rogue Says on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, The Outlaw Nation on Twitch. Please subscribe to the channel, y'all. 50,000 is the goal this year. I need to get 19,000 subscribers by the end of next year. So please come aboard if you haven't. Subscribe, hit that bell button, and let people know about the Hot Mic. Let people know about the Outlaw Nation channel. Don't forget the Geek Buddies coming out tomorrow with our main show. That'll be out there for you all to enjoy as well. And look for other stuff coming up this weekend if I've got the strength and energy for it. But we love you madly. Take care of yourselves. Be well. Have a good weekend. Enjoy the NFL football. And we'll talk to you next week with another brand new episode here of the Hot Mic. Peace.